Book of Enoch. Chapter 61. I saw in those days that long ropes were given to those Malachim, and hoisting up their own respective portions of the ropes, they soared going in the direction of the northeast. And I asked the Malach, saying unto him, Why have those Malachim hoisted these ropes and gone off? And he said unto me, They have gone in order to make measurements. The Malach who was going with me also said unto me, These Malachim are the ones who shall bring the measuring ropes of the righteous ones, as well as their binding cords, in order that they might lean upon the name of Yahuwah of the spirits forever and ever. Then the elect ones shall begin to walk with the elect ones. These are the measurements which shall be given to faith, and which shall strengthen righteousness. And these measurements shall reveal all the secrets of the depths of the earth, those who have been destroyed in the desert, those who have been devoured by the wild beasts, and those who have been eaten by the fish of the sea, so that they all return, and find hope in the day of the elect one. For there is no one who perishes before Yahuwah of the spirits, and no one who should perish. And those who are in heaven above and all the powers received a command, one voice, and one light like fire. And him the first word, they shall bless, extol, and magnify with wisdom. They shall be wise in utterance in the spirit of life, and in Yahuwah of the spirits. He placed the elect one on the throne of splendor, and he shall judge all the works of the set-apart ones in heaven above, weighing in the balance their deeds. And when he shall lift up his countenance in order to judge the secret ways of theirs by the word of the name of Yahuwah of the spirits, and their conduct by the method of the righteous judgment of Yahuwah of the spirits, then they shall all speak with one voice, blessing, magnifying, extolling, purifying the name of Yahuwah of the spirits. And he will summon all the forces of the heaven, and all the set-apart ones above, and the forces of Yahuwah, the cherubim, seraphim, Ophanim, all the Malachim of governance, the elect one, and the other forces on earth and over the water. On that day they shall lift up in one voice, blessing, magnifying, and extolling in the spirit of faith, in the spirit of wisdom and patience, in the spirit of mercy, in the spirit of justice and peace, and in the spirit of generosity. They shall all say in one voice, Blessed is he, and may the name of Yahuwah of the spirits be blessed forever and evermore. All the vigilant ones in heaven above shall bless him, all the set-apart ones who are in heaven shall bless him, all the elect ones who dwell in the garden of life shall bless him. Every spirit of light that is capable of blessing, magnifying, extolling, and purifying your blessed name shall bless him, and all flesh shall magnify and bless your name with an exceedingly limitless power forever and ever. For the mercy of Yahuwah of the spirits is great in quantity, and he is long-suffering. All his works and all the dimensions of his creation, he has revealed to the righteous and the elect ones in the name of Yahuwah of the spirits. Chapter 62. Thus Yahuwah commanded the kings, the governors, the high officials, and the landlords, and said, Open your eyes and lift up your eyebrows, if you are able to recognize the elect one. Yahuwah of the spirits has sat down on the throne of his splendor, and the spirit of righteousness has been poured out upon him. The word of his mouth will do the sinners in, and all the oppressors shall be eliminated from before his face. On the day of judgment all the kings, the governors, the high officials, and the landlords shall see and recognize him, how he sits on the throne of his splendor, and righteousness is judged before him, and that no nonsensical talk shall be uttered in his presence. Then pain shall come upon them as on a woman in travail with birth pangs, when she is giving birth the child enters the mouth of the womb, and she suffers from childbearing. One half portion of them shall glance at the other half, they shall be terrified and dejected. And pain shall seize them when they see that Son of Man sitting on the throne of his splendor. These kings, governors, and all the landlords shall try to bless, magnify, and extol him who rules over everything, him who has been concealed. For the Son of Man was concealed from the beginning, and the Most High One preserved him in the presence of his power, then he revealed him to the set-apart and the elect ones. The congregation of the set-apart ones shall be planted, and all the elect ones shall stand before him. On that day all the kings, the governors, the high officials, and those who rule the earth shall fall down before him on their faces and worship and raise their hopes in that Son of Man. They shall beg and plead for mercy at his feet. But Yahuwah of the spirits himself will cause them to be frantic, so that they shall rush and depart from his presence. Their faces shall be filled with shame, and their countenances shall be crowned with darkness. So he will deliver them to the Malachim for punishments in order that vengeance shall be executed on them, oppressors of his children and his elect ones. It shall become quite a scene for my righteous and elect ones. They shall rejoice over the kings, the governors, the high officials, and the landlords, because the wrath of Yahuwah of the spirits shall rest upon them, and his sword shall obtain from them a sacrifice. The righteous and elect ones shall be saved on that day, and from thenceforth they shall never see the faces of the sinners and the oppressors. Yahuwah of the spirits will abide over them. They shall eat and rest and rise with that Son of Man forever and ever. The righteous and elect ones shall rise from the earth, and shall cease being of downcast face. They shall wear the garments of splendor. These garments of yours shall become the garments of life from Yahuwah of the spirits. Neither shall your garments wear out, nor your splendor come to an end before Yahuwah of the spirits. Chapter 63. In those days, the governors and the kings who possess the land shall plead that he may give them a little breathing spell from the Malachim of his punishment to whom they have been delivered, so that they shall fall and worship before Yahuwah of the spirits, and confess their sins before him. They shall bless and magnify Yahuwah of the spirits, and say, Blessed is Yahuwah of the spirits, sovereign of kings, the almighty of rulers, and the master of the rich, Yahuwah of splendor and Yahuwah of wisdom. Your power exposes every secret thing from generation to generation, and your splendor is forever and ever. Deep are all your mysteries and numberless, and your righteousness is beyond accounting. Now we have come to know that we should magnify and bless the sovereign of kings, him who rules over all kings. Moreover, they shall say, Would that someone had given us a chance so that we should magnify, praise, and have faith before his splendor. This time, however, we are begging for a little rest, but find it not. We pursue it, but procure it not. Light has vanished from before us, and darkness has become our habitation forever and ever. Because we have formerly neither had faith nor magnified the name of Yahuwah of the spirits, nor magnified the sovereign in all his creation. We had put our hopes upon the scepters of our empires. Now on the day of our hardship and our tribulation he is not saving us, and we have no chance to become believers. For our sovereign is faithful in all his works, his judgments, and his righteousness, and his judgments have no respect of persons. So we will vanish away from before his face on account of our deeds, and all our sins are consumed by righteousness. Furthermore, at that time, you shall say, Our souls are satiated with exploitation money which could not save us from being cast into the oppressive Sheol. After that their faces shall be filled with shame before that Son of Man, and from before his face they shall be driven out. And the sword shall abide in their midst, before his face. Thus says Yahuwah of the spirits, This is the ordinance and the judgment before Yahuwah of the spirits, prepared for the governors, kings, high officials, and landlords. Chapter 64. Then I saw in that place other mysterious faces. And I heard the voice of an Malach saying, These are the Malachim who descended upon the earth and revealed what was hidden to the children of the people, and led the children of the people astray to commit sin. Chapter 65. In those days, Noah saw the earth, that she had become deformed, and that her destruction was at hand. And Noah took off from there, and went on to the extreme ends of the earth. And he cried out to his grandfather, Enoch, and said to him 3 times with a bitter voice, Hear me. Hear me. Hear me. And I said unto him, Tell me what this thing is which is being done upon the earth, for the earth is struggling in this manner, and is being shaken, perhaps I will perish with her in the impact. At that moment, there took place a tremendous turbulence upon the earth, and a voice from heaven was heard, and I fell upon my face. Then Enoch my grandfather came and stood by me, saying to me, Why did you cry out so sorrowfully and with bitter tears? An order has been issued from the court of Yahuwah against those who dwell upon the earth, that their doom has arrived, because they have acquired the knowledge of all the secrets of the Malachim, all the oppressive deeds of the Satans, as well as all their most occult powers, all the powers of those who practice sorcery, all the powers of those who mix many colors, all the powers of those who make molten images. How silver is produced from the dust of the earth, and how bronze is made upon the earth. For lead and tin are produced from the earth like silver, their source is a fountain inside which stands in Moloch, and he is a running Moloch. After that, My grandfather, Enoch, took hold of me by my hand and raised me up and said to me, Go, for I have asked Yahuwah of the spirits regarding this turbulence which is taking place on the earth. He continued to say to me, Because their oppression has been carried out on the earth, their judgment will be limitless before me. On account of the abstract things which they have investigated and experienced, the earth shall perish together with those who dwell upon her. And those who taught them these things will have no haven forever, because they have revealed to them the things which are secret to the condemned ones. But as for you, my son, Yahuwah of the spirits knows that you are pure and kind-hearted. You detest the secret things. He has preserved your name for the set-apart ones. He will protect you from those who dwell upon the earth. He has preserved your righteous seed for kingship and great splendor, and from your seed will emerge a fountain of the righteous and set-apart ones without number forever. Chapter 66. After this he showed me the Malachim of punishment who are prepared to come and release all the powers of the waters which are underground to become judgment and destruction unto all who live and dwell upon the earth. But Yahuwah of the spirits gave an order to the Malachim who were on duty that they should not raise the water enclosures, but guard them, for they were the Malachim who were in charge of the waters. Then I left from the presence of Enoch. Chapter 67. In those days, the word of Yahuwah came unto me, and said unto me, Noah, your lot has come up before me, a lot without blame, a lot of true love. At this time the Malachim are working with wood, making an ark, and when it is completed, I shall place my hands upon it and protect it, and the seed of life shall arise from it, and a substitute generation will come, so that the earth will not remain empty without inhabitants. I shall strengthen your seed before me forever and ever, as well as the seeds of those who dwell with you. I shall not put it to trial on the face of the earth, but it shall be blessed and multiply on the earth in the name of Yahuwah. And they shall imprison those Malachim who revealed oppression in that burning valley which my grandfather Enoch had formerly shown me in the west, among the mountains of gold, silver, iron, bronze, and tin. I also saw that valley in which there took place a great turbulence, and the stirring of the waters. Now, when all this took place, there was produced from that bronze and fire a smell of sulfur which blended with those waters. This valley of the corrupt Malachim shall continue to burn in punishment underneath that ground in respect to its troughs. They shall be filled with rivers of water, by which those Malachim who perverted those who dwell upon the earth shall be punished. Those waters shall become in those days a poisonous drug of the body and a punishment of the spirit unto the kings, rulers, and exalted ones, and those who dwell on the earth. Lust shall fill their souls, so that their bodies shall be punished, for they have denied Yahuwah of the spirits. They shall see their own punishment every day, but cannot believe in his name. In proportion to the great degree of the burning of their bodies will be the transmutation of their spirits forever and ever, for there is none that can speak a nonsensical word before Yahuwah of the spirits. So the judgment shall come upon them, because they believe in the lust of their bodies and deny the spirit of Yahuwah. And these waters will undergo change in those days, for on the one hand, when those Malachim are being punished by these waters, the temperatures of those fountains of water will be altered and become hot. But on the other hand, when the Malachim get out, those waters of the fountains shall be transformed and become cold. Then I heard Michael responding and saying, This verdict by which the Malachim are being punished is itself a testimony to the kings and the rulers who control the world. For these waters of judgment are poison to the bodies of the Malachim, as well as sensational to their flesh. Hence they will neither see nor believe that these waters become transformed and become a fire that burns forever. Chapter 68. After that, he gave me instructions in all the secret things found in the book of my grandfather, Enoch, and in the parables which were given to him, and he put them together for me in the words of the book which is with me. On that day, Michael addressed himself to Raphael, saying to him, The power of the Spirit grabs me, and causes me to go up on account of the severity of the judgment concerning the knowledge of the secrets. Who is able to endure the severity of the judgment which has been executed, and before which one melts away? Michael continued to speak further, saying to Raphael, Who is he whose heart does not become sordid in respect to this matter, and whose reins do not become stirred up from the word of the judgment which has been pronounced against them? Then it happened that when they stood before Yahuwah of the spirits, Michael said to Raphael thus, They shall not prosper before the eye of Yahuwah, for they have quarreled with Yahuwah of the spirits, because they act as if they were Yahuwah. Therefore, all that which has been concealed shall come upon them forever and ever, for neither in Moloch nor a man should be assigned his role, so those evil ones alone have received their judgment forever and ever. Chapter 69. After this judgment, they shall frighten them and make them scream, because they have shown this knowledge of secret things to those who dwell on the earth. Now behold, I am naming the names of those Malachim. These are their names: the first of them is Semyaz, the second Aristarchus, the third Armin, the fourth Kokbakel, the fifth Tural, the sixth Rumuel, the seventh Daniel, the eighth Nikhel, the ninth Barakel, the 10th Azazel, the 11th Armoros, the 12th Betriel, the 13th Asazel, the 14th Hananal, the 15th Tural, the 16th Sipezakel, the 17th Yadaral, the 18th Tomakel, the 19th Tural, the 20th Rummel, and the 21st Azazel. These are the chiefs of their Malachim, their names, their centurions, their chiefs over 50s, and their chiefs over 10s. The name of the first is Yechin. He is the one who misled all the children of the Malachim, brought them down upon the earth, and perverted them by the daughters of the people. The second was named Aspel. He is the one who gave the children of the set-apart Malachim an evil counsel, and misled them so that they would defile their bodies by the daughters of the people. The third was named Yashar'al. This one is he who showed the children of the people all the blows of death, who misled Eve, who showed the children of the people how to make the instruments of death, such as the shield, the breastplate, and the sword for warfare, and all the other instruments of death to the children of the people. Through their agency death proceeds against the people who dwell upon the earth, from that day forevermore. The fourth is named Pinam. This one demonstrated to the children of the people the bitter and the sweet, and revealed to them all the secrets of their wisdom. Furthermore, he caused the people to penetrate the secret of writing and the use of ink and paper. On account of this matter, there are many who have erred from eternity to eternity, until this very day. For human beings are not created for such purposes, to take up their beliefs with pen and ink. For indeed human beings were created to be like Malachim, permanently to maintain pure and righteous lives. Death, which destroys everything, would have not touched them had it not been through their knowledge by which they shall perish. Death is now eating us by means of this power. The fifth is named Kasidia. It is he who revealed to the children of the people the various scourging of all evil, the scourging of the souls and the demons, the smashing of the embryo in the womb so that it may be crushed, the scourging of the soul, snake bites, sunstrokes, the son of the serpent whose name is Tabukta. And this is the number of Caspel, the chief executor of the oath which he revealed to the set-apart ones while he was still dwelling in the highest in splendor. His name was then Beka, and he spoke to Michael to disclose to him his secret name, so that he would memorize this secret name of his, so that he would call it up in an oath in order that they shall tremble before it and the oath. He then revealed these to the children of the people, and all the hidden things and this power of this oath, for it is power and strength itself. The evil one placed this oath in Michael's hand. These are the secrets of this oath, and they are sustained by the oath. The heaven was suspended before the creation of the world, and forever. By it the earth is founded upon the water. From the hidden places of the mountains come beautiful waters, from the beginning of creation. And forever. By that oath, the sea was created, and he put down for it a foundation of sand which cannot be transgressed at a time of its anger, from the beginning of creation, and forever. And by that oath the depths are made firm, they stand still, and do not move from their places from the beginning of creation, and forever. By the same oath the sun and the moon complete their courses of travel, and do not deviate from the laws made for them from the beginning of creation, and forever. And by the same oath the stars complete their courses of travel, if they call their names, he causes them to respond from the beginning of creation, and forever. Likewise the waters and their souls, all the winds and their paths of travel from all the directions of winds. The voice of the thunder, and the light of the lightning are kept there. The reservoirs of hail, the reservoirs of frost, the reservoirs of mist, the reservoirs of rain and dew are kept there. All these believe and give thanks in the presence of Yahuwah of the spirits. They magnify with all their might and please him in all this thanksgiving. They shall thank, magnify, exalt Yahuwah of the spirits forever and ever. This oath has become dominant over them. They are preserved by it, and their paths are preserved by it, so that their courses of travel do not perish. Then there came to them a great joy. And they blessed, magnified and extolled Yahuwah on account of the fact that the name of that Son of Man was revealed to them. He shall never pass away or perish from before the face of the earth. But those who have led the world astray shall be bound with chains, and their ruinous congregation shall be imprisoned. All their deeds shall vanish from before the face of the earth. Thenceforth nothing that is corruptible shall be found, for that Son of Man has appeared, and has seated himself upon the throne of his splendor, and all evil shall disappear from before his face. He shall go and tell to that Son of Man, and he shall be strong before Yahuwah of the spirits. Here ends the third parable of Enoch. Chapter 70. And it happened after this that his name during his lifetime was raised up before that Son of Man, and to Yahuwah from among those who dwell upon the earth. It was lifted up in a winged chariot, and it disappeared from among them. From that day on, I was not counted among them. But he placed me between two winds, between the northeast and the west, where the Malachim took a cord to measure for me the place for the elect and righteous ones. And there I saw the first human ancestors and the righteous ones of old dwelling in that place. The Book of Enoch. Chapter 71. Thus it happened after this that my spirit passed out of sight, and ascended into the heaven. And I saw the sons of Elohim, the set-apart Malachim, walking upon the flame of fire. Their garments were white, and their overcoats, and the light of their faces was like snow. Also I saw two rivers of fire, the light of which fire was shining like hyacinth. Then I fell upon my face before Yahuwah of the spirits. And the Malach Michael, one of the set-apart Malachim, seizing me by my right hand and lifting me up, led me out into all the secrets of mercy, and he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. He also showed me all the secrets of the extreme ends of heaven, and all the reservoirs of the stars and the luminaries, from where they come out to shine before the faces of the set-apart ones. He carried off my spirit, and I, Enoch, was in the heaven of heavens. There I saw in the midst of that light a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw a ring which encircled this structure of fire. On its four sides were rivers, full of living fire which encircled it. Moreover seraphim, cherubim and Ophanim, the sleepless ones who guard the throne of his splendor, also encircled it. And I saw countless Malachim, 100,000 times 100,000, 10,000,000 times 10,000,000, encircling that house. Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Phanuel, and numerous other set-apart Malachim that are in heaven above, go in and out of that house. Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Phanuel, and numerous other set-apart Malachim that are countless. With them is the antecedent of time. His head is white and pure like wool, and his garment is indescribable. I fell on my face, my whole body mollified, and my spirit transformed. Then I cried with a great voice by the Spirit of the power, blessing, magnifying, and extolling. And those are the blessings which went forth out of my mouth, being well-pleasing in the presence of that antecedent of time. Then the antecedent of time came with Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Phanuel, and 100,000 and 10,000,000 times 100,000 Malachim that are countless. Then an Malach came to me and greeted me and said to me, You, son of man, who are born in righteousness and upon whom righteousness has dwelt, the righteousness of the antecedent of time will not forsake you. He added and said to me, He shall proclaim peace to you in the name of the world that is to come. For from here proceeds peace since the creation of the world, and so it shall be unto you forever and ever and ever. Everyone that will come to exist and walk shall follow your path, since righteousness never forsakes you. Together with you shall be their dwelling places, and together with you shall be their portion. They shall not be separated from you forever and ever and ever. So there shall be length of days with that Son of Man, and peace to the righteous ones. His path is upright for the righteous in the name of Yahuwah of the spirits forever and ever. Chapter 72. The Book of the Itinerary of the Luminaries of Heaven, the position of each and every one in respect to their ranks, in respect to their authorities, and in respect to their seasons. Each one according to their names and their places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the set-apart Malach who was with me, and who also is their guide, showed me, just as he showed me all their treatises, and the nature of the years of the world unto eternity, till the new creation which abides forever is created. This is the first commandment of the luminaries. The sun is a luminary whose egress is an opening of heaven, which is located in the direction of the east, and whose ingress is another opening of heaven located in the west. I saw 6 openings through which the sun rises and 6 openings through which it sets. The moon also rises and sets through the same openings, and they are guided by the stars. Together with those whom they lead, they are 6 in the east and 6 in the west heaven. All of them are arranged one after another in a constant order. There are many windows both to the left and the right of these openings. First there goes out the great light whose name is the sun. Its roundness is like the roundness of the sky, and it is totally filled with light and heat. The chariot on which it ascends is driven by the blowing wind. The sun sets in the sky in the west and returns by the northeast in order to go to the east. It is guided so that it shall reach the eastern gate and shine in the face of the sky. In this manner it rises in the first month through the major gate. It proceeds through this gate which is the 4th among those 6 openings which are located in the direction of the east. By this 4th gate through which the sun rises during the first month there are 12 open windows from which a flame flows when they are opened at the appropriate time. When the sun rises in the east in the sky, it goes out through this 4th gate for 30 mornings and descends faithfully through the 4th gate in the western sky. During those 30 days the day daily becomes longer and the night nightly shorter for 30 days. On that day, the day is longer than the night by 1/9, so the day turns out to be exactly 10 parts and the night to be 8 parts. The sun rises from that 4th eastern gate and sets in the 4th western one, and then it turns and comes into the 5th gate of the east for 30 days, through which it rises and sets in the 5th gate. At that time the day further becomes longer and becomes 11 parts and the night shortens, and becomes 7 parts on account of the sun. It then returns to the east and comes into the 6th gate, rising and setting through that 6th gate for 31 days, according to the principle of the gate. On that day the day becomes longer than the night still further, so the day becomes 12 parts, and the night shortens and becomes 6 parts. Then the sun is raised in such a way that its duration shortens and night occurs. The sun returns to the east and enters the 6th gate, rising and setting through it for 30 days. When 30 days are completed the day decreases exactly by 1 part, and becomes 11 parts, and the night 7. Then the sun, leaving the west by that 6th gate and going to the east, rises through the 5th gate for 30 mornings and sets again in the 5th gate in the west. On that day the day decreases by 2 parts. So the day becomes 10 parts and the night 8 parts. Then the sun, departing from that 5th gate and setting in the 5th gate in the west, rises in the 4th gate for 31 days according to the principle of the gate, and sets in the west. On that day the day is aligned with the night so that they become equal, so the night becomes 9 parts and the day 9 parts. Then the sun, departing from that gate and setting in the west, returns to the east and comes out through the 3rd gate for 30 days, and sets in the 3rd gate in the west. On that day the night becomes longer than the day, it becomes longer than the previous night, and the day becomes shorter than the previous day for 30 days, so the night turns out to be exactly 10 parts and the day to be 8 parts. Then the sun, departing from that 3rd gate in the west and returning to the east, comes out through the 2nd gate in the east for 30 days, and in the same manner it sets through the 2nd gate in the western sky. On that day the night becomes 11 parts and the day 7 parts. Then the sun, departing on that day from that 2nd gate and setting in the west in the 2nd gate, returns to the east and rises in the 1st gate for 31 days, and sets on that day in the western sky. On that day the night lengthens and becomes 12 parts, whereas the day shortens, and becomes 6 parts. Thus the sun completes its appearances and goes through those same cycles of appearances a second time, coming out through all the openings for 30 days and setting also in the west opposite to it. On that night the length of the night decreases by 1/9, so the night becomes 11 parts, and the day 7 parts. Then the sun returning and entering the 2nd gate which is in the east, resumes its appearances for 30 mornings, rising and setting as usual. On that day the night becomes shorter, so the night becomes 10 parts and the day 8 parts. On that day the sun, departing from this 2nd gate and setting in the west, returns to the east and rises through the 3rd gate for 31 days, and sets in the western sky. On that day the night shortens and becomes 9 parts, and the day 9 parts. Then the night becomes equal with the day, and the days of the year add up to exactly 364 days. The lengths of the day and the night, as well as the shortnesses of the day and the night, are determined by the course of the circuit of the sun and distinguished by it. The circuit becomes longer or shorter day by day and night by night respectively. Thus this is the order for the course of the movement and the settlement of the sun, that great luminary which is called the sun, for the duration of the years of the universe in respect to its going in and coming out. It is that very luminary which manifests itself in its appearance as Elohim has commanded that it shall come out and go in this manner. And neither does it diminish in respect to its brightness nor take rest, but continue to run day and night. As for the intensity of its light, it is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. Nevertheless, the sun and the moon are equal in regard to their respective sizes. Chapter 73. After I saw this set of regulations for the sun, I saw another set of regulations concerning the minor luminary whose name is moon. Its roundness is like the roundness of the sky, and the wind drives the chariot on which it rides, and it is given light in varying measure. Its coming out and its going in change every month. Its days are like the days of the sun, and when its light becomes evenly distributed, then it amounts to 1/7 of the light of the sun. The moon rises in this manner, its head faces the easterly direction, coming out on the 30th day. On that day, that is on the 30th day, it comes into existence, and it appears with the sun in the gate through which the sun exits. And you have the beginning of the month. Considering half of it to be divisible into 7 parts, the whole disk of it is without light, with the exception of 1/7 part of the 14th part of the light of the sun, 1/7 of its half light. On the day when it receives 1/7 part of its 1/2 as the sun sets, it becomes equivalent to 1/7 light of 1/2 of it. Then when the sun rises, the moon rises together with it, taking a portion of 1/2 of its light that night. The moon, just beginning its monthly journey on its first lunar day, sets with the sun and becomes dark in respect to its 13 parts that night. On that day it rises and shines with exactly 1/7 part of its semicircle. Then it comes out and recedes toward the east away from where the sun rises, continuing to be brighter in 1/6 of 1/7 of 1/2 of the light of the sun during the remaining days. Chapter 74. Furthermore, I saw another system of rotation with its own regulation, whereby the system fulfills its monthly course of movement. All these things, including their fixed positions, Uriel, the set-apart Moloch, who is the guide of all of them, showed to me. And I wrote down their fixed positions as he showed them to me, and I wrote down their months as they were, as well as the variable aspects of their illumination, until the completion of 15 days. The moon wanes in 15 steps during a period of 15 days, and waxes in 14 steps in the east and the west respectively. In certain designated months it alters its westerly settings, and in certain designated months it fulfills its unusual courses of movement. For 2 months the moon sets with the sun, and uses those 2 middle openings, which are the 3rd and the 4th gate. Lt comes out for 7 days and completes a circuit, as it returns again to the gate through which the sun rises. In this manner it waxes and recedes from the sun, entering the 6th gate through which the sun rises in 8 days. When the sun rises through the 4th gate, the moon comes out for 7 days, until it starts coming out through the 5th. It then turns back toward the 4th gate in 7 days, waxing as it recedes, and enters the 1st gate in 8 days. Then again it returns to the 4th gate through which the sun rises in 7 days. This is how I saw their fixed positions, how the moon rises and shines when the sun sets in those days. If 5 years are combined, the sun gains 30 extra days, consequently one of those 5 years gains, and when it is completed, it turns out to be 364 days. The gain of the sun and of the stars turns out to be 6 days in 5 years, 6 days every year add up to 30 days, and the moon falls behind the sun and the stars for 30 days. They bring about all the years punctiliously, so that they forever neither gain upon nor fall behind their fixed positions for a single day, but they convert the year with punctilious justice into 364 days. In 3 years there are 1,092 days, and in 5 years 1,000, 820 days, so that in 8 years there are 2,912 days. For the moon singly in 3 years its days add up to 1,030 days, so that it falls behind by 62 days in 3 years. In 5 years they add up to 1,870 days, so that it falls behind by 50 days in 5 years. Thus it is for the moon. In 8 years the days add up to 2,832 days, so that it falls behind by 8 days in 8 years. In this way the years are completed with precision, in accordance with their fixed positions in the universe and the fixed stations of the sun which shine, the gate through which the sun rises and sets for 30 days. Chapter 75. The leaders of the chiefs of the thousands, which are appointed over the whole creation and upon all the stars, are counted together with the 4 leaders of the seasons. They do not leave from the fixed stations according to the reckoning of the year, and they render service on the 4 days which are not counted in the reckoning of the year. On this account, people are in them, for those luminaries scrupulously render service to the fixed positions in the cosmos, one in the first gate of heaven, one in the third, one in the fourth, one in the fifth, and one in the sixth. In this manner the year is completed scrupulously in 364 fixed stations of the cosmos. Thus the signs, the durations of time, the years, and the days were shown to me by the Malach whom Yahuwah him of eternal splendor has appointed over all the luminaries of heaven, both in heaven and the world, in order that they, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the created objects which circulate in all the chariots of heaven should rule in the face of the sky, and be seen on the earth to be guides for the day and the night. Likewise Uriel showed me 12 wide openings in the sky along the course of the chariots of the sun, from which the rays of the sun break out, and from which heat is diffused upon the earth when they are opened during the designated seasons. Their openings affect the winds and the spirit of the dew. That is when the 12 wide openings are opened in the sky, in the extreme ends of the earth, through which also the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the other heavenly objects come out in the west. There are many open windows to the left and the right, but one window produces the heat at its designated time in the manner of those openings, through which the stars rise in accordance with their orders and set according to their numbers. I also saw chariots in heaven running in the universe above those openings in which the stars that do not set revolve. One circuit is larger than the rest of them all, and it circles the entire cosmos at the extreme ends of the earth. Chapter 76. And I saw the 12 wide openings in all the directions through which the winds come out and blow over the earth. 3 of them are open in the forefront of the sky, 3 in the west, 3 in the right of the sky, and 3 on the left. In other words, the first 3 are those on the morning side, followed by 3 in the direction of the north. The last 3 are those on the left in the direction of the south, followed by 3 in the west. Through 4 of the openings blow out winds of blessing, and through 8 of them blow out winds of pestilence, when they are sent in order to destroy the whole earth, the water upon her, all those who dwell upon her, and all those which exist in the waters and the dry land. The first group of winds goes out from those openings called the easterly. Out of the first gate, which is in the direction of the east and inclines toward the south, proceed extirpation, drought, pestilence, and destruction. Out of the second gate, located directly in the center, proceed rain and fruitfulness together with dew. Out of the third gate, which is in the direction of the northeast, proceed both cold and drought. After these winds, there go out the southerly ones through 3 gates. Among these, out of the first gate, which inclines in the direction of the east, proceed the winds of heat. Out of the central gate, which is next to it, proceed beautiful fragrance, dew, rain, peace, and life. And out of the third gate, in the direction of the west, proceed dew, rain, young locusts, and desolation. After these, there goes the group of the northerly winds, whose name is the sea. There proceed from the 7th gate, which is in the direction of the east toward the south, dew, rain, young locusts, and desolation. Out of the central gate proceed life, rain, and dew directly, and out of the third gate, which is in the direction of the west, which inclines toward the northeast, proceed cloud, frost, snow, rain, dew, and young locusts. After these come the 4th group of winds, the westerly. Out of the first gate, which is in the northeasterly direction, proceed dew, frost, cold, snow, and hoarfrost. Out of the central gate proceed dew, rain, peace, and blessing. And out of the last gate, which is in the direction of the south, proceed drought, desolation, burning, and destruction. Thus the 12 openings of the 4 heavenly directions are completed, all their orders, all their evil effects, and all their beneficial effects have I revealed to you, O my son Methuselah. Chapter 77. The first direction is called the east, because it is the very first. The second is called the south, because the Most High will descend there, indeed because He, the eternally blessed, will descend there. The third direction is the west, its name means the diminished, because there all the luminaries of the heaven diminish and descend. The fourth direction, whose name is the north, is divided into 3 parts. One of them is the dwelling of human beings, the second the seas of water lakes, forests, rivers, darkness, and clouds, and the third part the garden of righteousness. I saw 7 high mountains which were higher than all the mountains of the earth, out of them proceeds frost, and days, and years traverse them in due season. I saw 7 rivers upon the earth, larger than all the rivers, one of them emerges from the west, and empties its water into the great sea. 2 others come from the northeast to the sea, and empty their water into the Yashar'al sea in the east. The 4 remaining ones come out of the side of the northeast to their own respective seas, 2 of them to the Yashar'al sea, and 2 of them to the great sea, pouring themselves therein, some say to the 7th desert. I also saw big islands in the sea and the land, 72 in the Yashar'al sea. Chapter 78. These are the names of the son, of the first, Oriers, and the second, Tomas. The moon has 4 names, its first name is Isnia, its second Abla, the third Anas, and the fourth, Era. These are the 2 great luminaries. Their roundness is like the roundness of the sky, and the magnitude of their roundness is equivalent for both. There are 7 more portions of light that move in the sun's sphere than in the moon's, and it increases in measure until 70 portions of the sun are completed. The moon comes in and goes out by the western openings and circles via the northeast and rises through the eastern openings upon the face of the earth. When the moon begins its cycle, it appears in the sky 1/2 of a 7th part. It will become fully illumined from the 14th day. It completes its illumination the 15th, becoming fulfilled according to the sign of the year and becoming 15 parts. Thus the moon waxes in 15 parts. In its waning the moon decreases on the first day to 14 parts of its light, on the second day it decreases to 13 parts of light, on the third to 12 parts, on the fourth to 11 parts, on the fifth to 10 parts, on the sixth to 9 parts, on the seventh to 8 parts, on the eighth to 7 parts, on the ninth to 6 parts, on the 10th to 5 parts, on the 11th to 4 parts, on the 12th to 3 parts, on the 13th to 1/2 of the preceding, on the 14th all its light decreases to 1/2 of 1/7, and on the 15th all the remaining light disappears. In certain fixed months, the moon completes its cycle every 29 days, in certain others, every 28. Then Uriel showed me another order concerning when light is beamed into the moon, from which direction of the bright sun it is beamed. During all the seasons when the moon is made to run its cycle, the light is being beamed into it, the moon facing the sun, until the illumination of the moon is completed in the course of 14 days, and when it is lit completely, it radiates light in the sky. On the first day, it is called the new moon, because on that day the illumination begins to set upon it. These illuminations are completed with exactitude on the day when the sun descends into the west, and the moon simultaneously rises in the east in the evening, shining during the night until the sun rises opposite it, and it is over against the sun. From the same side where light entered the moon, from there also it gradually wanes, until all the illumination disappears and the days of the moon expire, its disk empty without light. The moon coordinates in respect to its days and seasons, 3-month divisions. In the course of its recession it makes 3 months each in 30 days and 3 months each in 29 days. During this season it makes its recession in the first period, starting in the first gate, in 177 days. In the course of its progression, it appears 3 months each in 30 days and 3 months each in 29 days. By night it appears like a man, and by day it appears like the sky, for there is no other thing in it except its light. Chapter 79. Thus now, my son, I have revealed to you everything, so the rules concerning all the stars of heaven are concluded here. Indeed, he showed me all their respective rules for every day, for every season, and for every year, the procession of each one according to the commandment, every month and every week. He showed me the total decrement of the moon which it makes from the first through the sixth gate, for after the light of this sixth gate is disposed of at the end of the series of the six gates, the beginning of the decrement which it makes in returning in the first gate takes place in its own season until 177 days are fulfilled, following the rule of counting weeks, 25 weeks and 2 days. The moon falls behind the sun according to the order of the stars exactly 5 days during one period, and when the place which you behold has been traversed. Such is the appearance and the picture of all the luminaries which Uriel the set-apart Moloch, who is their leader, showed unto me. Chapter 80. In those days, the Moloch Uriel responded and said to me, Behold, I have shown you everything, Enoch, and I have revealed everything to you so that you might see this sun, this moon, and those that guide the stars of heaven, as well as all those who interchange their activities and their seasons and rotate their processions. In respect to the days of the sinners, the winter are cut short, and their seeds shall lag behind in their lands, and in their fertile fields, and in all their activities upon the earth. He will turn and not appear in their time, and withhold rain, and the sky shall stand still at that time. Then the vegetable shall slacken and not grow in its season, and the fruit shall not be born in its proper season. The moon shall alter its order, and will not be seen according to its normal cycles. And in those days the sun will be seen, and he shall journey in the evening on the extremity of the great chariot in the west. And it shall shine more brightly, exceeding the normal degree of light. And many of the chiefs of the stars shall transgress in respect to the orders given to them. They shall change their courses and functions, and not appear during the seasons which have been prescribed for them. All the orders of the stars shall harden in disposition against the sinners, and the conscience of those that dwell upon the earth shall err against them, and they shall be altered from all their courses. Then the sinners shall err and take the stars to be mighty ones, and evil things shall be multiplied upon them, and plagues shall come upon them so as to. Book of Enoch. Chapter 81. Then he said unto me, Enoch, look at the tablets of heaven, and read what is written upon them, and understand each element on them one by one. So I looked at the tablets of heaven, and read all the writing on them, and came to understand everything. I read the book of all the deeds of humanity, and all the children of the flesh upon the earth for all the generations of the world. At that very moment, I blessed the great Yahuwah, the sovereign of splendor forever, for he has created all the phenomena in the world. I praised Yahuwah because of his patience, and I wept on account of the children of the people upon the earth. After that I said, Blessed is the man who dies righteous and upright, against whom no record of oppression has been written, and who received no judgment on that day. Then the 7 set-apart ones brought me and placed me on the ground in front of the gate of my house, and said to me, Make everything known to your son Methuselah, and show to all your children that no one of the flesh can be righteous before Yahuwah, for he is their creator. We shall let you stay with your son for 1 year, so that you may teach your children another law, and write it down for them, and give all of them a warning. And in the 2nd year, you shall be taken away from among all of them. Let your heart be strong. For the upright shall announce righteousness to the upright, and the righteous ones shall rejoice with the righteous ones, and congratulate each other. But the sinners shall die together with the sinners, and the backslider shall sink together with the backslider. But those who practice righteousness shall die on account of the evil deeds of the people, and be taken away on account of the deeds of the evil ones. And in those days those 7 set-apart ones concluded speaking with me, and then I returned to my people, blessing Yahuwah of the ages. Chapter 82. Now, Methuselah my son, I shall recount all these things to you and write them down for you. I have revealed to you and given you the books concerning all these things. So preserve, my son, the books from your father's hands, in order that you may pass it to the generations of the world. I have given wisdom to you, to your children, and to those who shall become your children, in order that they may pass it in turn to their own children, and to the generations that are discerning. All the wise ones shall give praise, and wisdom shall dwell upon your consciousness. They shall not slumber, But bethinking they shall cause their ears to listen in order that they may learn this wisdom, and it shall please those who feast on it more than good food. Blessed are all the righteous ones, blessed are those who walk in the way of righteousness, and have no sin like the sinners in the reckoning of the days in which the sun goes its course in the sky. The sun comes in through a door and rises for 30 days together with the chiefs of the thousands of the orders of the stars together with the four which are added to determine the intervals within the year, that is the intervals between the 4 seasons of the year. Those that lead them along come in on 4 days. On this account there are people that err, they count them in the computation of the year, for the people make error, and do not recognize them accurately, for they belong to the reckoning of the year. Truly, they are recorded forever, one in the first gate, one in the third, one in the fourth, and one in the sixth. The year is completed in 364 days. True is the matter of the exact computation of that which has been recorded for Uriel, whom Yahuwah of all the creation of the world has ordered for me, in order to explain the host of heaven has revealed to me, and breathed over me concerning the luminaries, the months, the festivals, the years, and the days. He has the power in the heavens both day and night, so that he may cause the light to shine over the people, sun, moon, and stars, and all the principalities of the heavens which revolve in their respective circuits. These are the orders of the stars which set in their respective places seasons, festivals, and months. And these are the names of those which lead the ones that come out and go down in their appointed seasons, which lead them in their respective places, orders, times, months, authorities, and locations. The 4 leaders which distinguish the 4 seasons of the year enter first, after them enter the 12 leaders of the orders which distinguish the months, and the 360 captains which divide the days, and the 4 added days, and leaders which divide the 4 seasons of the year. These captains over thousands are added between leader and leader, each behind a place to stand, but their leaders make the division. And these are the names of the leaders which divide the 4 seasons of the years, which are fixed: Makakal, Helikemamelik, Miliual, and Neral. The names of those who lead them are Adnarual, Tiasis El, Ilumul. These 3 follow the leaders of the orders, as well as the 4 which follow after the 3 leaders of the orders, which follow after those leaders of the stations that divide the 4 seasons of the year. At the very beginning Makviel, whose name is called Taman, and the sun rises and rules. And all the days of his authority during which he reigns are 91 days. And these are the signs of the days which become manifest during the period of his authority: sweat, heat, and dryness. All the trees bear fruit, and leaves grow on all trees. There will be good harvest, rose flowers, and all the flowers which grow in the field, but the winter tree shall wither. And these are the names of the leaders which are their subordinates: Burkakel, Zalipsakel, and another additional one, a captain of 1,000, named Eliasaph. The days of the authority of this one have been completed. The next leader after him is Helikemamelik, whose name they call the bright sun, and all the days of his light are 91 days. And these are the days of signs upon the earth, scorching heat and drought, and trees will produce their glowing fruits and impart of their ripened ones. The sheep shall seek one another and become pregnant, and all the fruits of the earth are gathered in, and all that is in the fields as well as the winepress. These things shall take place in the days of his authority. These are the names, the orders, and the subordinates of those captains over thousands: Jedekiel, Heliakel, and Kyle. And the name of the one that is added together with them is a captain over 1,000, called Asvakel. The days of the authority of this one have been completed. Chapter 83. Now, my son Methuselah, I will show you all the visions which I saw, recounting them before you. I saw 2 visions before I got married, and neither one of them resembles the other. The first one I saw when I was beginning to learn books, and the second, before I got married to your mother. First, I saw a scary vision regarding which I prayed to Yahuwah. I was then sleeping in my grandfather Mahalalel's house, and I saw in a vision the sky being hurled down and snatched, and falling upon the earth. When it fell upon the earth, I saw the earth being swallowed up into the great abyss, the mountains being suspended upon mountains, the hills sinking down upon the hills, and tall trees being uprooted and thrown and sinking into the deep abyss. Thereupon a word fell into my mouth, and I began crying aloud, saying, "The earth is being destroyed." Then my grandfather, Mahalalel, woke me up while I was sleeping together with him and said to me, "What happened to you that you are crying aloud like this, my son, and why are you lamenting in this manner?" And I recounted to him the whole vision which I had seen. And he said unto me, How terrifying a thing have you seen, my son? You have seen in your dream a powerful vision, all the sins of the whole world as it was sinking into the abyss and being destroyed with great destruction. Now, my son, rise and pray to Yahuwah of splendor, for you are a man of faith, so that a remnant shall remain upon the earth, and that the whole earth shall not be blotted out. My son, all the things upon the earth shall take place from heaven, and there will occur a great destruction upon the earth. After that, I rose and prayed, made a petition, and begged, and I wrote down all the prayers of the generations of the world. I will show you everything, my son Methuselah. Had I descended underneath and seen the sky, the sun rising in the east, the moon descending in the west, the diminishing of the stars, and the whole earth, I would have recognized everything upon her. So I blessed Yahuwah of judgment and extolled him. For he has made the sun to come out from the windows of the east, so it ascended, and rose upon the face of the sky, starting to go the way that it was shown. Chapter 84. Then I raised up my hands in righteousness and blessed the set apart and great one. And I spoke with the breath of my mouth and the tongue of flesh which Elohim has made for the children of the flesh of men, so that they should speak with it. He gave them the breath and the tongue and the mouths so that they should speak with it. Blessed are you, O great King, you are mighty in your greatness, O Yahuwah of all the creation of heaven, King of kings and Elohim of the whole world. Your authority and kingdom abide forever and ever, and your dominion throughout all the generations of generations. All the heaven are your throne forever, and the whole earth is your footstool forever and ever and ever. For you have created all, and all things you rule. Not a single thing is hard for you, absolutely not a single thing. Wisdom does not depart from the place of your throne. Your throne has not retreated from her station nor from before your presence. Everything you know, you see, and you hear all matters, and nothing exists that can be hidden from you, for everything you expose. The Malachim of your heaven are now committing sin upon the earth, and your wrath shall rest upon the flesh of the people until the arrival of the great day of judgment. Now, O Yahuwah and Elohim and great King, I pray and beg so that you may sustain my prayer and save for me a generation that will succeed me in the earth, and do not destroy all the flesh of the people, and empty the earth, so that there shall be eternal destruction. Do now destroy, O my sovereign, the flesh that has angered you from upon the earth, but sustain the flesh of righteousness and uprightness as a plant of eternal seed, and hide not your face from the prayer of your servant, O Yahuwah. Chapter 85. After this, I saw another dream, and I will show you everything, my son. Then Enoch responded and said to his son Methuselah, I shall speak to you, my son, hear my words and incline your ears to the dream vision of your father. Before I married your mother, Edna, I was seeing a vision on my bed, and behold, a cow emerged from the earth, and that bovid was snow white, and after it there came forth one female calf together with two other calves, one of which was dark and the other red. The dark calf gored that red calf and pursued it over the earth. Thereafter I was not able to see that red calf. But the dark calf grew big, and it brought along that female calf, and I saw that many bovids, which resembled it, proceeded forth from it, and followed after them. That first heifer departed from before the face of that first bovid, and looked for that red calf, but could not find it, so she lamented over it with great lamentation in searching for it. I kept looking until that first cow came and quieted her. From that moment, she stopped crying. After that she bore two snow-white cows, and after it she bore many more cows, as well as dark heifers. I also saw in my sleep that snow-white bull, and he grew big likewise and became a great snow-white bull, and there proceeded forth from him many snow-white cows which resembled him. Then they began to give birth to many snow-white cows which resembled them, each one following many others. Chapter 86. Again I saw a vision with my own eyes as I was sleeping, and saw the lofty heaven, and as I looked, behold, a star fell down from heaven, but managed to rise and eat, and to be pastured among those cows. Then I saw these big and dark cows, and behold, they all changed their cattle stalls, their pastures, and their calves, and they began to lament with each other. Once again I saw a vision, and I observed the sky, and behold, I saw many stars descending and casting themselves down from the sky upon that first star, and they became bovids among those calves, and were pastured together with them in their midst. I kept observing, and behold, I saw all of them extending their sexual organs like horses and commencing to mount upon the heifers, the bovids, and they all became pregnant and bore elephants, camels, and donkeys. So the cattle became fearful and frightened of them, and began to bite with their teeth and swallow and to gore with their horns. Then they began to eat those bovids. And behold, all the children of the earth began to tremble, and to shake before them, and to flee from them. Chapter 87. Again I saw them commencing to gore and devour one another, so the earth began to cry aloud. And I lifted my eyes unto heaven and saw a vision, and behold, there came forth from heaven a being in the form of a snow-white man. One came out of that place, and 3 others with him. Those ones which had come out last seized me by my hand, and took me from the generations of the earth, lifted me up into a high place, and showed me a high tower above the earth, and all the hills were firm. One of them said to me, Stay here until you see everything that will happen to these elephants, camels, and donkeys, as well as to the stars, and to the bovids, all of them. Chapter 88. I then saw one of those 4 who had come out earlier seizing that first star, binding his hands and feet, and throwing him into an abyss. This abyss was narrow and deep, empty and dark. Also one of them drew a sword and gave it to those elephants, camels, and donkeys. Then they began to attack one another, and on account of them the whole earth was quaking. And as I continued to see in the vision, behold, from that time, one of the 4 among those who had come out was stoning from the sky, and gathering and taking away all the mighty stars, whose sexual organs were like the sexual organs of horses. Then he bound all of them hand and foot, and cast them into the pits of the earth. Book of Enoch. Chapter 89. Then one of those 4 went to those snow-white bovids, and taught one of them a secret. He was born a bovid, but became a person, and he built for himself a big boat, and dwelt upon it. 3 cows dwelt together with him in that boat, and that boat was covered over them. Again I raised my eyes toward heaven, and saw a lofty ceiling with 7 cascading streams upon it, and those cascading streams flowed with much water into one enclosed area. Again I saw, and behold, fountains were opened upon the ground of that great enclosed area, and the water began to swell and rise upon the ground. And I saw that enclosed area until the whole ground was completely covered with water. Water darkness and mist accumulated heavily upon it, and I looked at the ascent of that water going up and up until it rose above that enclosed area, and was streaming above the enclosed area. Thus it was standing above the ground. And everything that was in the enclosed area, and all those on the ground, were gathered together until I saw them sinking, being swallowed up and perishing in that water. Yet that boat was floating above the water, though all the cattle, elephants, camels, and donkeys were sinking to the bottom, so I could no longer see any one of the animals, for they had no ability to come out but only to perish and sink into the deep water. Again I kept seeing in the vision until those cascading streams were dissipated from that high ceiling, the fountains of the earth were normalized, and other pits were opened. Then the water began to descend into them until the ground became visible. That boat settled upon the earth, the darkness vanished, and it became light. Then the snow-white cow which became a man came out from that boat together with 3 cows. One of those 3 cows was snow-white, similar to that first cow, and one of them red like blood. Now that first snow-white cow departed from them. Then they began to bring forth beasts of the fields and birds. There arose out of them all classes of population: lions, leopards, wolves, snakes, hyenas, wild boars, foxes, squirrels, swine, hawks, eagles, kites, striped crows, and ravens. Among them there was also born a snow-white cow. Then they began to bite one another among themselves. That snow-white cow which was born in their midst begat a wild ass, and a snow-white cow with it, and the wild donkeys multiplied. And that cow which was born from him bore a black wild boar, and a snow-white sheep. The former then bore healthy beasts, and the latter bore 12 sheep. When those 12 sheep had grown up, they gave away one of their own members to the donkeys, which in turn gave him away to the wolves. So this sheep grew up in the midst of the wolves. Then Yahuwah brought the 11 sheep to dwell with him and to pasture in the midst of the wolves, and they multiplied, and became many flocks of sheep. Then the wolves began to fear them, so they tortured them until their little ones were being killed, for they cast away their little ones into a river of great quantity of water. So those sheep began to cry aloud on behalf of their little ones, and to complain unto their sovereign. Then one sheep which had been saved from the wolves fled, and escaped to the wild asses. But I saw the sheep continuing to lament and cry aloud, and they kept praying to their sovereign with all their strength until the sovereign of the sheep descended at their entreatment from a lofty palace, arriving to visit them. He called that sheep which had escaped from the wolves, and told him concerning the wolves, that is, he should warn the wolves not to touch the sheep. The sheep then went to the wolves in accordance with the word of the sovereign, together with another sheep which he had met. So the two of them went on and arrived together into the assembly of those wolves, and spoke to them and warned them not to touch the sheep. But thenceforth, I saw how the wolves even intensified their pressure upon the sheep. They, the sheep, cried aloud, they cried aloud with all their strength. Then their sovereign came to the rescue of the sheep, whereupon they began to whip those wolves. So the wolves began to make lamentations, but the sheep thereafter became quiet and stopped crying aloud. I continued to see the sheep until they departed from the presence of the wolves, and the wolves their eyes were dazzled, yet the wolves went out to pursue those sheep with all their might. But the sovereign of the sheep went with them as their leader, while all his sheep were following him. His face was majestic, adorable, and marvelous to behold. As for the wolves, they continued to pursue those sheep until they found them at a certain pool of water. Then the pool of water was rent asunder, and the water stood apart on this and on that side before their very eyes, and their sovereign, their leader, stood between them and the wolves. Those wolves were still not able to see the sheep, and the sheep walked through that pool of water. Then the wolves followed the sheep and ran after them into that pool of water. Then when they saw the sovereign of the sheep, they turned in order to flee from before his face. But that pool of water gathered itself together and immediately returned to its normal state. The water became full and rose high until it covered completely those wolves. Thus I saw till the wolves which pursued those sheep perished and were drowned. So the sheep proceeded past that water and arrived in the desert, where there was no water or grass. But they began to open their eyes and see. Then I saw the sovereign of the sheep bringing them to a pasture and giving them grass and water. Also that sheep was leading them as they were proceeding forward. That sheep then ascended to the summit of that lofty rock, and the sovereign of the sheep sent him to them. After that, I saw the sovereign of the sheep, who stood before them. His appearance was majestic, marvelous, and powerful. All those sheep beheld him and were afraid before his face. All of them feared and trembled because of him, and cried aloud to that sheep who was leading them, and to the other sheep who was also in their midst, saying, "We are not able to stand before the presence of our sovereign and to look at him." Then that sheep which was leading them turned back and again ascended to the summit of that rock. Meanwhile the sheep began to be dim-sighted in their eyes, and went astray from the path which he had shown them, but that sheep was not aware of it. So the sovereign of the sheep became angry at them with great wrath, and that sheep became aware of it, and having descended from the summit of that rock, came to the sheep and found that the majority of them had been blinded in their eyes and gone astray. And those who saw him became afraid, trembling in his presence, and wanted to return to their folds. So that sheep took some other different sheep together with them, and came to those sheep which had gone astray, slaying them, and the sheep became frightened in his presence. He, that sheep, thus caused those sheep which went astray to return, and brought them back into their folds. I continued to see in that vision till that sheep was transformed into a man, and built a house for the sovereign of the sheep, and placed the sheep in it. I moreover continued to see until that sheep, which had met the sheep that was their leader, fell asleep, and all the senior sheep perished, junior ones rising to take their places. Then coming into a pasture, they approached a stream of water. There that sheep who was leading them, the one who had become a man, departed from them, and all of them went to sleep. Then the rest of the sheep sought him, and there took place a great cry over him. And I kept looking till they quieted down from crying, for that sheep crossed that stream of water, and all of the sheep stopped. Those who were leading them made agreements with those whom they found, and they led them. I still kept seeing the sheep till they arrived at a very pleasant place, and in a land beautiful and splendid. I saw those sheep being satiated, and that house was in their midst in the beautiful land, by which their eyes become opened. And when their eyes become dim-sighted, another sheep arose and led them. They would all return, and their eyes became opened. Now the dogs, foxes, and the wild boars began to devour those sheep, till the sovereign of the sheep raised up another sheep, one from among them, a ram which would lead them. That ram began to fight on all sides those dogs, foxes, and wild boars until he destroyed all of them. Then that sheep had his eyes opened, and he saw that ram which was among the sheep, how he abandoned his own esteem, and began to attack those sheep to trample upon them, and went away without dignity. So the sovereign of the sheep sent the sheep to another sheep, and promoted him to become a ram, and lead the sheep in place of that sheep which had abandoned his own esteem. After having gone to him, he spoke to him privately and raised that ram, making him a judge and a leader of the people. Throughout this time the dogs were continuing to covet this sheep. The first ram then persecuted that second ram, so that latter ram arose and escaped from before his presence, and then I continued to look until those dogs toppled that first sheep. But that second ram arose and led the little sheep. That ram begat many sheep and fell asleep before a little sheep became a ram in his place, a judge and a leader of those sheep. Those sheep grew and multiplied, but all those dogs, foxes, and wild boars feared and fled before him. That ram attacked and killed all the wild beasts, and all the wild beasts were no longer able to return among the sheep, or to rob absolutely anything from them. Then that house became great and spacious, a lofty building was built upon it for that sheep, as well as a tall and great tower upon it for the sovereign of the sheep. That house was low, but the tower was really elevated and lofty. Then the sovereign of the sheep stood upon that tower, and they offered a full table before him. Again I saw those sheep, how they went astray, going in diverse ways and abandoning that house of his. Then the sovereign of the sheep called some from among the sheep, and sent them to the sheep, but the sheep began to slay them. However, one of them was not killed, but escaped alive and fled away. He cried aloud to the sheep, and they wanted to kill him, but the sovereign of the sheep rescued him from the sheep, and caused him to ascend to me and settle down. He sent many other sheep to those sheep to testify to them and to lament over them. Thereafter I saw that when they abandoned the house of the sovereign and his tower, they went astray completely, and their eyes became blindfolded. Then I saw the sovereign of the sheep, how he executed much slaughter upon them in their flocks, until those sheep began to invoke that slaughter, and he vindicated his place. He left them in the hands of the lions, leopards, and wolves, hyenas, as well as in the hands of the foxes, and to all the wild beasts. And these wild beasts of the wilderness began to tear those sheep into pieces. I saw how he left that house of theirs and that tower of theirs, and cast all of them into the hands of the lions, even into the hands of all the wild beasts, so that they may tear them into pieces and eat them. Then I began to cry aloud with all my strength, and to call upon the sovereign of the sheep, and to reveal to him concerning the sheep, for he had fed them to all the wild beasts. But he remained quiet and happy, because they were being devoured, swallowed, and snatched, so he abandoned them into the hands of all the wild beasts for food. He then summoned 70 shepherds and surrendered those sheep to them so that they might pasture them. He spoke to the shepherds and their colleagues, "From now on, let each and every one of you graze the sheep, and do everything which I command you. I shall hand them over to you duly counted, and tell you which among them are to be destroyed. And you shall destroy them." So he handed over those sheep to them. Then calling another group of shepherds, he told them, "Take notice, and see everything which the shepherds will do to those sheep, for they will destroy from among them a greater number than those which I have commanded them. You write down every excess and destruction that will be wrought through the shepherds, how many they destroy according to my command, and how many they will destroy of their own accord. Write down every destruction that each and every shepherd causes against their records. And read aloud before me each particular case, how many they destroy and how many they give over to destruction, so that this may become a testimony for me against them, so that I may know all the deeds of the shepherds, and so that I may evaluate them and see what they do, whether they act according to my command which I have commanded them or not. If they do not know it, do not reveal it to them, neither admonish them, but write down every destruction caused by the shepherds for each and every one in his appointed time, and elevate all of it to me." And I saw till those shepherds in their appointed time pastured the sheep, and began killing and destroying many in excess of what they had been commanded, and they abandoned those sheep into the hands of the lions. So the lions and the leopards ate and devoured the majority of those sheep. The wild boars also ate along with them. Then they burned that tower and plowed that house. And I became exceedingly sorrowful on account of that tower, for that house of the sheep was being plowed. Thereafter I was unable to see whether those sheep could enter that house. So the shepherds and their colleagues handed over those sheep to all the wild beasts so that they might devour them. At the appointed time, each one among them the shepherds receives the sheep in a fixed number, and each one among them the shepherds hands them, the sheep, over to the other, the colleague in a fixed number. Then they shall write down for the other, the colleague in a book how many among them, the sheep would perish. Each and every one of them kills and destroys in excess of their order. So I began to weep and cry aloud on account of those sheep. In this manner I saw that writer in my vision, how he writes down that which was destroyed by those shepherds, every day, and how he puts down, and shows the whole book to the sovereign of the sheep, everything that each one has done, everything that each and every one of them has eliminated, and everything that they have given over to destruction. The book was read before the sovereign of the sheep, and he took it from his hand, read it, sealed it, and laid it down. Thereafter I saw the shepherds pasturing for 12 hours, behold, 3 of those sheep returning, arriving, entering, and beginning to build all the parts of that house which had fallen down. The wild boars came and tried to hinder them, but were unsuccessful. They again began to build as before, and they raised up that tower which is called the High Tower. But they started to place a table before the tower, with all the food which is upon it being polluted and impure. Regarding all these matters, the eyes of the sheep became so dim-sighted that they could not see, and likewise in respect to their shepherds, and they were delivered to their shepherds for an excessive destruction, so that the sheep were trampled upon and eaten. The sovereign of the sheep remained silent until all the sheep were dispersed into the woods, and got mixed among the wild beasts, and could not be rescued from the hands of the beasts. The one who was writing a book elevated and showed it, and read the grave words of the sovereign of the sheep. He then pleaded to him and begged him on account of the sheep, while manifesting to him all the deeds of the shepherds and giving testimony before him against all the shepherds. Then taking it, he placed that very book beside him in this manner and departed. Chapter 90. Then I saw after that how 37 shepherds were pasturing the sheep, all of them completed their duties in their own respective periods, like the former ones, and aliens took the sheep into their hands in order to pasture them in their own respective periods, each shepherd in his own period. After that I saw with my own eyes all the birds of heaven, eagles, vultures, kites, and ravens coming. The eagles were the ones who were leading all the birds, and they began to eat those sheep, to dig out their eyes, and to eat their flesh. Then the sheep cried aloud, for their flesh was being eaten by the birds. I too cried aloud and lamented in my sleep on account of that shepherd who was grazing the sheep. I kept seeing till those sheep were eaten by the dogs, the eagles, and the kites, and they left neither flesh, nor skin, nor sinew on them absolutely, until their bones stood there bare. Then their bones fell to the ground, and the sheep became few. I kept seeing till 23 shepherds pastured the sheep, and all of them completed 58 seasons in their own respective periods. Then, behold, lambs were born from those snow-white sheep, and they began to open their eyes and see, and cried aloud to the sheep. But as for the sheep, the lambs cried aloud to them, yet the sheep did not listen to what the lambs were telling them, but became exceedingly deafened, and their eyes became exceedingly dim-sighted. Then I saw in a vision ravens flying above those lambs, and they seized one of those lambs, and then smashing the sheep, they ate them. I kept seeing till those lambs grew horns, but the ravens crushed their horns. Then I kept seeing till one great horn sprouted on one of those sheep, and he opened their eyes, and they had vision in them, and their eyes were opened. He cried aloud to the sheep, and all the rams saw him and ran unto him. In spite of this, all those eagles, vultures, ravens, and kites until now continue to rip the sheep, swooping down upon them and eating them. As for the sheep, they remain silent, but the rams are lamenting and crying aloud. Those ravens gather and battle with the horned ram and seek to remove his horn, but without any success. I saw thereafter the shepherds coming, and those vultures and kites cried aloud to the ravens, so that they should smash the horn of that ram. But he battled with them, and they fought each other, and he cried aloud while battling with them, so that him help should come. I kept seeing till that man who writes down the names of the shepherds and elevates them before the sovereign of the sheep came. It is he who helped him and revealed to him everything. Thus help came down for that ram. And I kept seeing till the sovereign of the sheep came upon them in wrath, and all who saw him fled and fell all into darkness from before his face. All the eagles, vultures, ravens and kites gathered with all the sheep of the field lining up with them, and having thus come together in unity, all of them cooperated in order to smash the horn of the ram. I saw that man who was writing a book by the command of Yahuwah, for he opened that book of the destruction which those 12 last shepherds caused, and he revealed before the sovereign of the sheep that they had much greater destruction than their predecessors. I kept seeing till the sovereign of the sheep came unto them, and took in his hand the rod of his wrath, and smote the earth, and all the beasts and all the birds of the heaven fell down from the midst of those sheep, and were swallowed up in the earth, and it was covered upon them. Then I saw that a great sword was given to the sheep, and the sheep proceeded against all the beasts of the field in order to kill them, and all the beasts and birds of heaven fled from before their face. Then I kept seeing till a throne was erected in a pleasant land, and he sat upon it for the sovereign of the sheep, and he took all the sealed books and opened those very books in the presence of the sovereign of the sheep. Then the sovereign called those people, the 7 first snow-white ones, and ordered them to bring before him some from among the first stars that arose, and from among those stars whose sexual organs were like those of the horses, as well as that first star which had fallen down earlier. And they brought them all before him. He spoke to the man who was writing in his presence, that man being one of those 7 snow-white ones, saying, Take those 7 shepherds to whom I had handed over the sheep, but who decided to kill many more than they were ordered. Behold, I saw all of them bound, and they all stood before him. Then his judgment took place. First among the stars, they received their judgment and were found guilty, and they went to the place of condemnation, and they were thrown into an abyss full of fire and flame and full of the pillar of fire. Then those 70 shepherds were judged and found guilty, and they were cast into that fiery abyss. In the meantime I saw how another abyss like it, full of fire, was opened wide in the middle of the ground, and they brought those blinded sheep, all of which were judged found guilty, and cast into this fiery abyss, and they were burned. The abyss is to the right of that house. Thus I saw those sheep while they were burning, their bones also were burning. Then I stood still, looking at that ancient house being transformed. All the pillars and all the columns were pulled out, and the ornaments of that house were packed and taken out together with them, and abandoned in a certain place in the south of the land. I went on seeing until the sovereign of the sheep brought about a new house, greater and loftier than the first one, and set it up in the first location which had been covered up. All its pillars were new, the columns new, and the ornaments new, as well as greater than those of the first, that is, the old house, which was gone. All the sheep were within it. Then I saw all the sheep that had survived, as well as all the animals upon the earth and the birds of heaven, falling down, and worshipping those sheep, making petition to them, and obeying them in every respect. Thereafter those 3 who were wearing snow-white clothes, the former ones who had caused me to go up, grabbed me by my hand, also the hand of that ram holding me, and I ascended. They set me down in the midst of those sheep prior to the occurrence of this judgment. Those sheep were all snow-white, and their wool considerable and clean. All those which have been destroyed and dispersed, and all the beasts of the field and the birds of the sky were gathered together in that house, and the sovereign of the sheep rejoiced with great joy, because they had all become gentle and returned to his house. I went on seeing until they had laid down that sword which was given to the sheep. They returned it to the house, and sealed it in the presence of the sovereign. All the sheep were invited to that house, but it could not contain them all. The eyes of all of them were opened, and they saw the beautiful things. Not a single one existed among them that could not see. Also I noticed that the house was large, wide, and exceedingly full. Then I saw that a snow-white cow was born, with huge horns. All the beasts of the field, and all the birds of the sky feared him, and made petition to him all the time. I went on seeing until all their kindred were transformed, and became snow-white cows, and the first among them became something. And that something became a great beast with huge black horns on its head. The sovereign of the sheep rejoiced over it, and over all the cows. I myself became satiated in their midst. Then I woke up, and saw everything. This is the vision which I saw while I was sleeping. Then I woke up, and blessed Yahuwah of righteousness, and gave him esteem. And I wept with a great weeping, and my tears could not stop till I had no more endurance left, but flowed down on account of what I had seen until everything should come and be fulfilled. The deeds of the people were also shown to me, each according to its type. On that night, I remembered the first dream and wept on its account, and I was restless, because I had just seen that vision. Book of Enoch. Chapter 91. Now, my son Methuselah, please summon all your brothers on my behalf and gather together to me all the sons of your mother, for a voice calls me, and the Spirit is poured over me so that I may show you everything that shall happen to you forever. Then Methuselah went and summoned his brothers, and having summoned them to him, gathered his family together. Then Enoch spoke to all of them, children of righteousness, and said, Hear all you children of Enoch, the talk of your father, and listen to my voice in uprightness. For I exhort you, my beloved, and say to you, love uprightness, and it alone. Do not draw near uprightness with an double heart, and neither associate with hypocrites. But walk in righteousness, my children, and it shall lead you in the good paths, and righteousness shall be your friend. For I know that the state of violence will intensify upon the earth, a great plague shall be executed upon the earth, all forms of oppression will be carried out, and everything shall be uprooted, and its whole structure be destroyed. Oppression shall recur once more and be carried out upon the earth, every form of oppression, injustice, and iniquity shall prevail twofold. And when sin, oppression, blasphemy, and injustice increase, crime, iniquity, and uncleanliness shall be committed and increase likewise. Then a great plague shall take place from heaven upon all these, the set-apart sovereign shall emerge with wrath and plague in order that he may execute judgment upon the earth. In those days injustice shall be cut off from its roots, and from its roots of oppression together with deceit they shall be destroyed from underneath heaven. And all the idols of the heathen shall be abandoned, the towers shall be inflamed with fire, and be removed from the whole earth. They shall be thrown into the judgment of fire, and perish in wrath, and in grievous eternal judgment. Then the righteous one shall arise from his sleep, and the wise one shall arise, and he shall be given unto the people. And through him the roots of oppression shall be cut off. Sinners shall be destroyed by the sword, they shall be cut off together with the blasphemers in every place, and those who design oppression and commit blasphemy shall perish by the knife. Then after that there shall occur the second 8th week, the week of righteousness. A sword shall be given to it in order that judgment shall be executed in righteousness on the oppressors, and sinners shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous. At its completion, they shall acquire great things through their righteousness. A house shall be built for the great king in splendor forevermore. Then after that in the 9th week the righteous judgment shall be revealed to the whole world. All the deeds of the sinners shall depart from upon the whole earth and be written off for eternal destruction, and all people shall direct their sight to the path of uprightness. Then after this matter on the 10th week in the 7th part, there shall be the eternal judgment, and it shall be executed by the Malachim of the eternal heaven, the great judgment which emanates from all of the Malachim. The first heaven shall depart and pass away. A new heaven shall appear, and all the powers of heaven shall shine forever sevenfold. Then after that there shall be many weeks without number forever, it shall be a time of goodness and righteousness, and sin shall no more be heard of forever. Now I shall speak unto you, my children, and show you the ways of righteousness and the ways of wickedness. Moreover, I shall make a revelation to you so that you may know that which is going to take place. Now listen to me, my children, and walk in the way of righteousness, and do not walk in the way of wickedness, for all those who walk in the ways of injustice shall perish. Chapter 92. Book 5, which is written by Enoch, the scribe of all the signs of wisdom among all the people. He is blessed and noble in all the earth. It is written for all the offspring that dwell upon the earth, and for the latter generations which uphold uprightness and peace. Let not your spirit be troubled by the times, for the set apart and great one has designated specific days for all things. The righteous man shall awaken from his sleep, he shall arise and walk in the ways of righteousness, and all the way of his conduct shall be in goodness and generosity forever. He will be generous to the righteous man and give him eternal uprightness, he will give authority, and judge in kindness and righteousness, and they shall walk in eternal light. Sin and darkness shall perish forever, and shall no more be seen from that day forevermore. Chapter 93. Then after that Enoch happened to be recounting from the books. And Enoch said, concerning the children of righteousness, concerning the elect ones of the world, and concerning the plant of truth, I will speak these things, my children. Verily I Enoch myself, and let you know about it according to that which was revealed to me from the heavenly vision, that which I have learned from the words of the set apart Malachim, and understood from the heavenly tablets. He then began to recount from the books and said, I was born the 7th during the 1st week, during which time judgment and righteousness continue to endure. After me there shall arise in the 2nd week great and evil things, deceit should grow, and therein the first consummation will take place. But therein also a certain man shall be saved. After it is ended, injustice shall become greater, and he shall make a law for the sinners. Then after that, at the completion of the 3rd week, a certain man shall be elected as the plant of the righteous judgments, and after him one shall emerge as the eternal plant of righteousness. After that, at the completion of the 4th week, visions of the old and righteous ones shall be seen, and a law shall be made with a fence for all the generations. After that, in the 5th week, at the completion of splendor, a house and a kingdom shall be built. After that, in the 6th week, those who happen to be in it shall all of them be blindfolded, and the hearts of them all shall forget wisdom. Therein, a certain man shall ascend. And, at its completion, the house of the kingdom shall be burnt with fire, and therein the whole clan of the chosen root shall be dispersed. After that, in the 7th week, an apostate generation shall arise, its deeds shall be many, and all of them criminal. At its completion, there shall be elected the elect ones of righteousness from the eternal plant of righteousness, to whom shall be given 7-fold instruction concerning all his flock. For what kind of a human being is there that is able to hear the voice of the set apart one without being shaken? Who is there that is able to ponder his deep thoughts? Who is there that can look at all the works of heaven? What kind of a person is he that can fully understand the activities of heaven, so that he can see a soul, or even perhaps a spirit, or even if he ascended into the heavens and saw all these heavenly beings and their wings and contemplated them, or even if he can do what the heavenly beings do, and is able to live? What kind of a person is anyone that is able to understand the nature of the breadth and length of the earth? To whom has the extent of all these been shown? Is there perchance any human being that is able to understand the length of heaven, the extent of its altitude, upon what it is founded, the number of the stars, and the place where all the luminaries rest? Chapter 94. Now, my children, I say to you, love righteousness and walk therein. For the ways of righteousness are worthy of being embraced. But the ways of wickedness shall soon perish and diminish. To certain known persons, the ways of injustice and death shall be revealed as soon as they are born, and they shall keep themselves at a distance from those ways and would not follow them. Now to you, the righteous ones, I say, do not walk in the evil way, or in the way of death. Do not draw near to them lest you be destroyed. But seek for yourselves and choose righteousness, and the elect life. Walk in the way of peace, so that you shall have life and be worthy. Hold fast my words in the thoughts of your hearts, and let them not be erased from your hearts. For I do know that sinners will counsel the people to perform evil craft, and every place will welcome it, and every advice of the sinners may not diminish. Woe unto those who build oppression and injustice, who lay foundations for deceit. They shall soon be demolished, and they shall have no peace. Woe unto those who build their houses with sin, for they shall all be demolished from their foundations, and they shall fall by the sword. Those who acquire gold and silver, they shall quickly be destroyed in the judgment. Woe unto you, O rich people! For you have put your trust in your wealth. And by your riches you shall stray, because you have not remembered the Most High the days of your riches. In the days of your affluence you committed oppression, you have become ready for death, and for the day of darkness, and the day of great judgment. Thus I speak, and let you know, for he who has created you, he will also throw you down upon your own righteousness. There shall be no mercy for you. And he, your Creator, shall rejoice at your destruction. O Elohim, your righteous ones shall be a reproach to the sinners and the wicked. Chapter 95. Who would induce my eyes like a cloud of waters, that I may weep over you, pouring my tears over you like a cloud of waters, so I would rest from the sorrow of my heart. Who permits you to practice hatred and wickedness? Judgment will catch up with you, sinners. You righteous ones, fear not the sinners. For Yahuwah will again deliver them into your hands, so that you may execute judgment against them as you desire. Woe unto you who speak out curses which cannot be reversed. Healing shall therefore be far from you on account of your sins. Woe unto you who reward evil to your neighbors. For you shall be rewarded in accordance with your deeds. Woe unto you, witnesses of falsehood, and unto those who prepare oppression. For you shall perish soon. Woe unto you, sinners, for you persecute the righteous. For you shall be handed over and be persecuted through oppression. Its yoke shall be heavy upon you. Chapter 96. Be hopeful, you righteous ones, for the sinners shall soon perish from before your presence. You shall be given authority upon them, such as you may wish to have. In the day of the tribulation of the sinners, your children shall be raised high up and be made openly visible like eagles. Higher than the vultures will your dwelling place be. You shall ascend and enter the crevices of the earth and the clefts of the rock forever. Like squirrels before the face of the oppressors, the demons shall be blown over you, wailing like the buzzing of wild bees. But you who have experienced pain, fear not, for there shall be a healing medicine for you. A bright light shall enlighten you, and a voice of rest you shall hear from heaven. Woe unto you, you sinners! For your money makes you appear like the righteous, but your hearts do convict you like real sinners. This very testimony shall be a witness against you, as a record of your evil deeds. Woe unto you who devour the finest of the wheat, and drink wine in large bowls, trampling upon the weak people with your might. Woe unto you who have water available to you all the time, for soon you shall be consumed and wither away, for you have forsaken the fountain of life. Woe unto you who carry out oppression, deceit, and blasphemy. There shall be a record of evil against you. Woe unto you, O powerful people! You who with might oppress the righteous with your power, the day of your destruction is coming. In those days, at the time of your condemnation, many and good days shall come for the righteous ones. Chapter 97. Be confident, you righteous ones, for the sinners are due for a shame. They shall perish on the day of the judgment of oppression. Be it known unto you this indisputable matter, for the Most High shall record your destruction for you, O sinners, and the Malachim of heaven shall rejoice over your destruction. What do you intend to do, you sinners? Whither will you flee on that day of judgment, when you hear the sound of the prayer of the righteous ones? In respect to your lot, you shall become like them, against whom you shall become witnesses, such is the fact, you have become companions with sinners. And in those days, the prayers of the righteous ones shall reach unto Yahuwah, but for all of you your days of your judgment shall arrive. He shall read aloud regarding every aspect of your mischief in the presence of the great set apart one. Then your faces shall be covered with shame, and he will cast out every deed which is built upon oppression. Woe unto you, sinners, who are in the midst of the sea and on the dry land, whose records are both evil and against you. Woe unto you who gain silver and gold by unjust means, who will then say, we have grown rich, and accumulated goods, we have acquired everything that we have desired. So now let us do whatever we like, for we have gathered silver, we have filled our treasuries with money like water. And many are the laborers in our houses. Your lies flow like water. For your wealth shall not endure, but it shall take off from you quickly, for you have acquired it all unjustly, and you shall be given over to a great curse. Chapter 98. And now I swear unto you, to the wise and to the foolish, for you shall see many things upon the earth. For you men shall put on more jewelry than women, and more multicolored ornaments than a virgin. In royalty and in esteem and in authority, in silver, in gold, in clothing, in honor, and in food, they shall be poured out like water. For this reason, they are devoid of knowledge and wisdom, so they shall perish thereby, together with their possessions, and together with all their esteem and honor. Then in dishonor, in slaughter, and in great misery, their spirits shall be cast into the furnace of fire. I have sworn unto you, sinners, in the same manner that a mountain has never turned into a servant, nor shall a hill ever become a maidservant of a woman likewise, neither has sin been exported into the world. It is the people who have themselves invented it. And those who commit it shall come under a great curse. Why have a woman not been given barrenness? On account of the deeds of her own hands would she die without children. I swear to you, sinners, by the set-apart Great One, that all your evil deeds are revealed in the heavens. None of your deeds of injustice are covered and hidden. Think not in your spirit, nor say in your hearts that you neither know nor see all our sins being written down in the heavens every day in the presence of the Most High. From now on do know that all your injustices which you have committed unjustly are written down every day, until the day of your judgment. Woe unto you, fools, for you shall perish through your folly. You do not listen to the wise, and so goodness shall not be your portion. And now do know that you are ready for the day of destruction. Hope not that you shall live, you sinners, you who shall depart and die, for you know for what reason you have been ready for the day of the great judgment, for the day of anguish and great shame for your spirits. Woe unto you, obstinate of heart, who work wickedness and devour blood. From where will you find good things that you may eat, drink, and be satisfied? Even from all the good things which Yahuwah, the Most High, has placed in abundance on the whole earth. Therefore no peace exists for you. Woe unto you who love the deeds of unrighteousness. Why do you have hopes for good things for yourselves? Do know that you shall be given over into the hands of the righteous ones, and they shall cut off your necks and slay you, and they shall not have compassion upon you. Woe unto you who rejoice in the suffering of the righteous ones. For no grave shall be dug for you. Woe unto you who would set at naught the words of the righteous ones. For you shall have no hope of life. Woe unto you who write down false words and words of wickedness. For they write down their lies, so that the people may commit wicked acts, and they cause others to commit wicked acts. They shall have no peace, but shall die quickly. Chapter 99. Woe unto you who work wickedness, who exalt and honor false words, you shall perish, and you have no life of good things. Woe unto you who alter the words of truth and transgress the eternal law. They reckon themselves not guilty of sin, they shall be trodden under foot upon the earth. In those days be ready, you righteous ones, to raise up your prayers as a memorial and place them as a testimony before the Malachim, and the Malachim shall bring the sins of the sinners for a memorial before the Most High. In those days, the nations shall be confounded, and the families of the nations shall rise in the day of the destruction of the sinners. In those days, the women shall become pregnant, but the sinners shall come out and abort their infants and cast them out from their midst. They shall also abandon their other children, casting their infants out while they are still suckling. They shall neither return to them, nor have compassion upon their beloved ones. Again I swear to you, you sinners, for sin has been prepared for the day of unceasing bloodshed. And those who worship stones, and those who carve images of gold and of silver and of wood and of clay, and those who worship evil spirits and demons, and all kinds of idols not according to knowledges, they shall get no manner of help in them. They shall become wicked on account of the folly of their hearts, their eyes will be blindfolded on account of the fear of their hearts, and through visions in their dreams. They shall become wicked and fearful through them, for they wrought all their deeds in falsehood and worship stone, so they shall perish instantly. In those days, blessed are they all who accept the words of wisdom and understand them to follow the path of the Most High. They shall walk in the path of his righteousness, and not become wicked with the wicked, and they shall be saved. Woe unto you who spread evil to your neighbors, for you shall be slain in Sheol. Woe unto you who make sinful and deceitful measures, who acquire worldly knowledge, for you shall be consumed by it. Woe unto you who build your houses through the hard toil of others, and your building materials are bricks and stones of sin. I tell you, you have no peace. Woe unto you who reject the foundations, and the eternal inheritance of your forefathers. Who shall pursue after the wind, the idle, for there shall be no rest for you. Woe unto you who engage in oppression, and give aid to injustice, slaying your neighbors until the day of the great judgment, because he shall cast down your esteem. He will instill evil into your hearts. He will arouse the anger of his spirit, and destroy you all by the sword. And all the set apart and righteous ones shall remember your sins. Chapter 100. In those days, the father will be smitten together with his sons in one place, and brothers shall fall together with their friends in death, until a stream shall flow with their blood. For a man shall not be able to withhold his hands from his sons and nor from his sons' sons in order to kill them. Nor is it possible for the sinner to withhold his hands from his honored brother. From dawn until the sun sets, they shall slay each other. The horse shall walk through the blood of sinners up to his chest, and the chariot shall sink down up to its top. In those days, the Malachim shall descend into the secret places. They shall gather together into one place all those who gave aid to sin. And the Most High will arise on that day of judgment in order to execute a great judgment upon all the sinners. He will set a guard of set-apart Malachim over all the righteous and set-apart ones, and they shall keep them as the apple of the eye until all evil and all sin are brought to an end. From that time on the righteous ones shall sleep a restful sleep, and there shall be no one to make them afraid. Then the wise people shall see, and the sons of the earth shall give heed to all the words of this book. They shall know that their wealth shall not be able to save them at the place where their sins shall collapse. Woe unto you, sinners, when you oppress the righteous ones in the day of hard anguish and burn them with fire. You shall be recompensed according to your deeds. Woe unto you, you hard of heart, who are watchful to devise evil. Fear shall seize you, and none shall come to your aid. Woe unto you, sinners, because of the words of your mouth. On account of the deeds of your wicked ones in blazing flames worse than fire, you shall burn. And now, do know that your deeds shall be investigated from the sun, from the moon, and from the stars for heaven by the Malachim on account of your sins which were committed upon the earth. The decree is with the righteous ones. Every cloud, mist, dew, and rain shall witness against you, for they shall all be withheld from you from descending for you, and they shall not give heed, because of your sins. So then offer gifts to the rain, that it be not hindered from descending for you. Perhaps the dew may receive from you gold and silver in order to descend for sure. In descending, they shall fall upon you, the frost and the snow with their cold, and all the winds of the snow with all their plagues, and in those days you cannot stand before them. Book of Enoch. Chapter 101. Examine the heavens, you sons of heaven, and all the works of the Most High, and be afraid to do evil in his presence. If he closes the windows of heaven and hinders the rain and the dew from descending upon the earth because of you, what will you do? Or, if he sends his anger against you because of your deeds, you cannot entreat him. Because you utter bold and hard words against his righteousness, therefore you shall have no peace. Do you not see the sailors of the ships, how their ships are tossed up and down by the billows, and are shaken by the winds, and they become anxious? On this account it is evident that they are seized by fear, for they will discharge all their valuable property, the goods that are with them, into the sea. They think in their hearts that the sea will swallow them up, and they will perish in it. Is not the entire sea and all her waters and all her movements the very work of the Most High? Has he not ordered her courses of action and her waters, and confined her throughout by the sand? At his rebuke they become frightened, and she dries up. Then her fish die, and all that is in her. But you, sinners, who are upon the earth, fear him not. Did he not make the heavens and the earth, and all that is in them? Who gave the knowledge of wisdom to all those who move upon the earth and in the sea? Do not the sailors of the ships fear the sea? Yet the sinners do not fear the Most High. Chapter 102. In those days when he hurls out against you terror of fire, where shall you flee, and where shall you find safety? When he flings his word against you, will you not faint and fear? All the luminaries shall faint with great fear, the whole earth shall faint and tremble and panic. All the Malachim shall execute their commands. The children of the earth will seek to hide themselves from the presence of the great splendor, trembling and confounded. You, sinners who are accursed forever, there is no peace for you. But you, souls of the righteous, fear not, and be hopeful, you souls that died in righteousness. Be not sad because your souls have gone down into Sheol in sorrow, and that in your life your body did not fare according with your goodness. Indeed, the time you happened to be in existence was a time of sinners, a time of curse, and a time of plague. When you die, the sinners will speak over you. As we die, so do the righteous die. What then have they gained by their deeds? Behold, like us they died in grief and in darkness, And what have they more than we? From now on we have become equal. What will they receive, or what will they see forever? Behold, they have surely died, and from now on they shall never see light forever. Now I tell you, sinners who have satiated yourselves with food and drink, robbing and sin, impoverishing people and gaining property, and seeing good days. Have you seen the righteous, how their end comes about, for no injustice is found upon them until their death? But they perished and became like those who were not, and descended into Sheol, and their spirits too with anguish. Chapter 103. I now swear to you, righteous ones, by the splendor of the Great One and by the splendor of his kingdom, and I swear to you even by the Great One. For I know this mystery, I have read the tablets of heaven, and have seen the set-apart writings, and I have understood the writing in them, and they are inscribed concerning you. For all good things and joy and honor are prepared for and written down for the souls of those who died in righteousness. Many and good things shall be given to you, the offshoot of your labors. Your lot exceeds even that of the living ones. The spirits of those who died in righteousness shall live and rejoice, their spirits shall not perish, nor their memorial from before the face of the Great One unto all the generations of the world. Therefore do not worry about their humiliation. Woe unto you sinners when you have died. When you have died in the wealth of your sins, those who are like you will say of you, happy are you sinners. The sinners have seen all their days. They have died now in prosperity and wealth. They have not experienced struggle and battle in their lifetime. They have died in honor, and there was no judgment executed on them in their lifetime. You yourselves know that they will bring your souls down to Sheol, and they shall experience evil and great tribulation in darkness and chains and burning flame. Your souls shall enter into the great judgment. It shall be a great judgment in all the generations of the world. Woe unto you, for there is no peace for you. Now to the righteous and kind ones during their lifetime, do not say in the days of our toil we have surely suffered hardships and have experienced every trouble. We have faced many evil things and have become consumed. We have died and become few, characterized by the littleness of our spirit. We have been destroyed, and we have found none whatsoever to help us with a word or otherwise. We have been tortured and destroyed, and could not even hope to see life from one day to the other. We hoped to be the head and have become the tail. We have moiled as we toiled, but had no authority over our own toil. We have become the victuals of the sinners and the oppressors, they have made their yoke heavy upon us. Those who hate us, while goading us and encompassing us, have become masters over us. We have bowed our necks to those who hate us, but they had no pity on us. We wanted to get away from them in order that we may escape and be at rest, but we found no place to which we might flee and be safe from them. Then in our tribulation, we brought a charge against them before the authorities and cried out against those who were devouring us, but the authorities neither would pay attention to our cries nor wish to listen to our voice. But on the contrary, they were assisting those who were robbing and devouring us, those who were causing us to diminish. The authorities conceal the offenders in justice and do not remove the yokes of those who devour us, scatter us, and murder us. The authorities cover up our murder, and they do not remember the fact that they have lifted up their hands against us. Chapter 104. I swear unto you that in heaven the Malachim will remember you for good before the splendor of the Great One, and your names shall be written before the splendor of the Great One. Be hopeful, because formerly you have pined away through evil and toil. But now you shall shine like the lights of heaven, and you shall be seen, and the windows of heaven shall be opened for you. Your cry shall be heard. Cry for judgment, and it shall appear for you. For all your tribulations shall be demanded for investigation from the responsible authorities, from everyone who assisted those who plundered you. Be hopeful, and do not abandon your hope, because there shall be a fire for you. You are about to be making a great rejoicing like the Malachim of heaven. You shall not have to hide on the day of the great judgment, and you shall not be found as the sinners, but the eternal judgment shall be far away from you for all the generations of the world. Now fear not, righteous ones, when you see the sinners waxing strong and flourishing, do not be partners with them, but keep far away from those who lean on to their own injustice, for you are to be partners with the good-hearted people of heaven. Now, You sinners, even if you say all our sins shall not be investigated or written down, nevertheless all your sins are being written down every day. So now I show unto you that light and darkness, as well as day and night, witness all your sins. Do not become wicked in your hearts, or lie, or alter the words of uprightness, or utter falsehood against the words of the great, the set apart one, or give praise to your idols, for all your lies and all your wickedness are not for righteousness, but for great sin. And now I know this mystery, for the sinners shall alter the righteous words, and many sinners will take it to heart. They will speak evil words and lie, and they will invent fictitious stories and write out my scriptures on the basis of their own words. And would that they had written down all the words truthfully on the basis of their own speech, and neither alter nor take away from my words, all of which I testify to them from the beginning. Again, know another mystery, that to the righteous and the wise shall be given the scriptures of joy for truth and great wisdom. So to them shall be given the scriptures, and they shall believe them and be glad in them, and all the righteous ones who learn from them the ways of truth shall rejoice. Chapter 105. In those days, says Yahuwah, they will call and testify and cause the children of the earth to hear. Reveal it to them with your wisdom, for you are their guides, and you are a reward upon the whole earth. Until I and my Son are united with them forever in the upright paths in their lifetime, and there shall be peace unto you. Rejoice, you children of truth. Chapter 106. And after some days my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore him a son. And his body was white as snow and red as a rose, the hair of his head as white as wool, and his diadem beautiful. And as for his eyes, when he opened them, the whole house glowed like the sun, rather the whole house glowed even more exceedingly. And when he arose from the hands of the midwife, he opened his mouth and spoke to Yahuwah with righteousness. And his father, Lamech, was afraid of him and fled, and went to Methuselah his father. And he said to him, I have begotten a strange son. He is not like an ordinary human being, but he looks like the children of the Malachim of heaven to me. His form is different, and he is not like us. His eyes are like the rays of the sun, and his face magnificent. It does not seem to me that he is of me, but of Malachim, and I fear that a wondrous phenomenon may take place upon the earth in his days. So I am beseeching you now, begging you in order that you may go to his grandfather Enoch, our father, and learn from him the truth, for his dwelling place is among the Malachim. When Methuselah heard the words of his son, he came to us at the ends of the earth, for he had heard that I was there. He cried aloud, and I heard his voice and came to him, and I said to him, Behold, my son, here I am, why have you come here? Then he answered me and said, On account of a great distress have I come to you, on account of a grievous vision have I come near here. Now, my father, hear me, for unto my son Lamech a son has been born, one whose image and form are not like unto the characteristics of human beings, and his color is whiter than snow and redder than a rose, the hair of his head is whiter than white wool, and his eyes are like the rays of the sun, and when he opened his eyes the whole house lighted up. And when he rose up in the hands of the midwife, he opened his mouth and blessed Yahuwah of heaven. Then his father, Lamech, became afraid and fled, and he did not believe that the child was of him but of the image of the Malachim of heaven. And behold, I have come to you in order that you may make me know the real truth. Then I, Enoch, answered, saying to him, Yahuwah will surely make new things upon the earth, and I have already seen this matter in a vision and made it known to you. For in the generation of Jared, my father, some of the Malachim transgressed the word of Yahuwah, the law of heaven. And behold, they commit sin and transgress the commandments. They have united themselves with women and commit sin together with them, and they have married wives from among them and begotten children by them. There shall be a great destruction upon the earth, and there shall be a deluge and a great destruction for 1 year. And this son who has been born unto you shall be left upon the earth, and his 3 sons shall be saved when they who are upon the earth are dead. And upon the earth they shall give birth to giants, not of the spirit, but of the flesh. There shall be a great plague upon the earth, and the earth shall be washed clean from all the corruption. Now make known to your son Lamech that the son who has been born is indeed righteous, and call his name Noah, for he shall be the remnant for you, and he and his sons shall be saved from the corruption which shall come upon the earth on account of all the sin and oppression that existed, and it will be fulfilled upon the earth in his days. After that there shall occur still greater oppression than that which was fulfilled upon the earth the first time, for I do know the mysteries of the set-apart ones, for he, Yahuwah, has revealed them to me and made me know, and I have read them in the heavenly tablets. Chapter 107. Then I beheld the writing upon them that one generation shall be more wicked than the other, until a generation of righteous ones shall arise, wickedness shall perish, sin shall disappear from upon the earth, and every good thing shall come upon her. And now, my son, go and make it known to your son Lamech that this son who has been born is his son in truth and not in falsehood. And when Methuselah had heard the words of his father Enoch, for he revealed to him everything in secret, he returned home. And he called the name of that son Noah, for he will comfort the earth after all the destruction. Chapter 108. Another book of Enoch, which he wrote for his son Methuselah and for those who will come after him, observing the law in the last days. You who have observed the law shall wait patiently in all the days until the time of those who work evil is completed, and the power of the wicked ones is ended. As for you, wait patiently until sin passes away, for the names of the sinners shall be blotted out from the book of life and the books of the set-apart one. Their seeds shall be destroyed forever, and their spirits shall perish and die. They shall cry and lament in a place that is an invisible wilderness, and burn in the fire, for there exists ground there as upon the earth. I also saw there something like an invisible cloud, and though I could see that it was completely dark, yet I could see the flame of its fire, because it was burning brightly, and there were some things like bright mountains which formed a ring around it, and which were tossing it to and fro. Then I asked one of the set-apart Malachim who was with me, saying to him, What is this bright thing? For it is not a heaven but merely the flame of a fire which is burning, and a voice of weeping, crying, and lamenting, as well as strong pain. And he said unto me, This place which you see, into it shall be taken the spirits of sinners, blasphemers, those who do evil, and those who alter all the things which Yahuwah has done through the mouth of the prophets, all of which have to be fulfilled. For some of these things were written and sealed above in heaven, so that the Malachim may read them and know that which is about to befall the sinners, the spirits of the ones who err, as well as those who defiled their bodies, revenge themselves on Elaphim, and worked together with evil people. Those who love Elaphim have loved neither gold nor silver, nor all the good things which are in the world, but have given over their bodies to suffering. Who from the time of their very being have not longed after earthly food, and who regarded themselves as a mere passing breath. And they have observed this matter, Yahuwah having put them through much testing, then he received their pure spirits so that they should bless his name. And I have recounted in the books all their blessings. He has caused them to be recompensed, for they were all found loving Elaphim more than the fire of their eternal souls, and while they were being trodden upon by evil people, experiencing abuse and insult by them, they continued blessing me. So now I shall summon their spirits who are born of light, and change those who are born in darkness, those whose bodies were not recompensed with honor as they deserved for their faithfulness. I shall bring them out into the bright light, those who have loved my set-apart name, and seat them each one by one upon the throne of his honor. And they shall be resplendent for ages that cannot be numbered, for the judgment of Elaphim is righteousness, because he will give faith as well as the paths of truth to the faithful ones in the resting place. Then they shall see those who were born in darkness being taken into darkness, while the righteous ones shall be resplendent. The sinners shall cry aloud, and they shall see the righteous ones being resplendent. They shall go to the place which was prescribed for them concerning the days and the seasons. Here ends the revelation of the secrets of Enoch. Blessed are they that submit themselves to the will of Yahuwah and guard it with all of their heart. For they shall see his face with joy and not in sorrow. Hallelujah.